The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of Atlanta After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of Atlanta After Show.
Yo, what up, AfterBuzzers? It's your boy, DJ Jesse Janedy, here at the AfterBuzz TV studios for the Real Housewives of Atlanta After Show. We're going to do a double episode for you guys. We're actually not there in studio over the holiday break, but I am joined via phone with the lovely Courtney Stewart. What up, Bo?
What's up, Boo? How you doing?
I am doing fine. I am enjoying myself with the holidays, with family. Real Housewives of Atlanta has been delivering. I'm a little upset that I was not in studio with y'all last week, but I got to say the show is giving me my life.
It is giving everything. While everything else is on hiatus, the Housewives of Atlanta are still serving it up real strong.
They are. I mean, let's just start right from the beginning of last week's episode. We had Phaedra, who was pumping her breast milk. You know, she was getting Mr. President his nutrients.
Her organic chocolate milk, doing her thing, yes.
And, you know, that kind of sparked some conversation sexually for some of the girls, in which Monique, NeNe's new little friend, who they tried to force into this damn show, and I cannot stand it.
Why not?
Courtney, I mean, when I tell you, this bitch just looks so awkward on the show. She looks like a damn mouse. She looks like a damn lamb running through a wolf's gang.
Well, they try to help her out with that a little bit later, but she's bringing some good, juicy twists.
I mean, you know what? I will give you that. She was looking like a fool, but she did give some good twists, I will say. So she brings up, I have sex with my husband every other day for 13 years unless I'm on vacation or traveling somewhere.
That's exhausting, but more power to her.
Right, bitch, like every other day. This is the thing. This is why I couldn't stand her. I felt like she was like always trying to like push, like get into the conversation too much, and it was just like, okay, girl, like calm down, like let another person talk. Like no one asked you, you know, about how many times you were screwing your man. Like
she
every other day, like girl,
awkward. She was a little awkward because she's not used to be around them, so she's like trying to get into the flow of how the conversation happens.
But I just wish it was like natural and cool and slick, and it just was so not. She was so awkward. She came off like a stan. Like she came off like she was like, I've been watching you guys for 5 seasons, and I'm so excited I'm on here right now.
Well, because that's how she actually is. She just hasn't learned how to hide it yet. She's like, I've been watching. I'm trying to get in.
Girl, bye. I can't. I hope she does not. And you know what? Whatever, if they were trying to test her out to see if she should be a housewife, I don't think she's going to be because they did not show a peep of her in the second episode.
Well, not exactly, no. But I think there's still more joyous things to come from that whole situation.
Oh, I don't know, girl. So Porsha steps in. She says, you know, I feel like you need to take care of your man sexually or else, you know, that gives him the op to cheat. which sparks Kenya to kind of, you know, poke a little bit at Porsha, saying, wait a minute, what you talking about? Told us that your man tells you that when he can do something. How do you feel about that whole little cattiness between Porsha and Kenya?
It was just, I mean, it's kind of tough because, like, Kenya, number one, neither of them obviously is a very good example, I guess, at this point, because neither one of them got a man or kept a man. So maybe they both should just be quiet. But I did understand where Porsha was coming from, and I think Kenya turned it into something else. Like, the whole, like, oh, well, how saying you've given your man permission to cheat. I don't think that Porsha was saying that, but I do think that Porsha accepts that there is a level of sexual responsibility when you are in a relationship, and if you're not giving it, they're going to get it from somewhere. So that's not putting the blame on you per se, but it is saying that you have a certain level of responsibility in your relationship. So I wasn't mad at Porsha for that, but I was annoyed with Kenya because she was annoying for this whole episode for me.
Oh, you know what? For me, Kenya redeemed herself at the end of the episode, but we'll talk about that because then they get to...
I think it was the total opposite direction at the end of the episode for me, but yes, we'll get there.
You didn't... Okay, let's just talk about it. You didn't like Drunk Kenya? I love Drunk Kenya.
Okay, I liked her a little bit, but then it just got messy and, like, inappropriate. Like, you can't just straight up ask people who are married. Like, I think that she went too far with the whole too many sex questions. Like, it was too much. Like, it's great TV, don't get me wrong. Like, I was enjoying it and I'm laughing, but it made her, she looked grimy to me when you do that. Like, you don't ask grown women that are married, like, ooh, was the sex good? Like, to somebody else's, like, ex with a woman sitting right there. That didn't make any sense to me.
Ooh, oh, you're right. You're right, and we will get to it. I cannot miss Kenya. So they get to the wedding cake mansion, though, and we find out that it is a haunted mansion. And right away, as they go in there, Kandi picks the master suite.
Oh, my God, how upset. I was kind of mad at that.
Were you mad at it before Kenya made a big thing out of it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was stupid that Kenya made a big thing out of it constantly, but I do think it was a little bit shady on Kandi's part. Like, the host should get the choice of the rooms, but the bottom line is NeNe should have assigned rooms and been done with it. Be like, okay, guys, I picked rooms for people. This is your room, this is your room, this is your room. But it would have been nice, since NeNe planned the trip, to allow her to have the master. I understand that. So lesson learned: if you want to host, you better do your job and host. And get name tags on the doors or something, bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You sitting over there. I love Miss NeNe, but I gotta say, Miss NeNe disappointed me in this episode because she was looking real sour the whole episode. Like, I want my room, but I'm not really mad about the room. Yes, bitch, you are mad about the room because you didn't say anything about them being late. That's why it was funny, because I feel like NeNe was trying real hard, not to, as she said, to keep NeNe at bay.
Yeah.
So she was mad as hell, and she really wanted to go off, but she just pouted instead so that she wouldn't go off. So it made me laugh.
And then how'd you feel about this part? Kenya's sitting there, she's trying to instigate some shit, talking about, you need to set ground rules. And this is the other part that irritated me about NeNe, is that here you are, NeNe, you're allowing Kenya to talk to you like this, like she's she's sonning you. And then all of a sudden, NeNe goes downstairs and she's like, you know what? I was talking to Kenya, and I just want to set some ground rules. Like, but you don't even look tough now. Like, now you look like Kenya had to tell you that. Miss NeNe Leaks, Kenya had to tell you that.
I think that it still makes NeNe look like a superstar because she's hiding in her room so she doesn't cuss nobody out. And then Kenya's like, no, girl, you going down there and talk to him. And she's like, all right, I'm going to be the pleasant person and come down kindly and say, we need to respect everybody's time and be on time. And I'm mad about the room, so I'm going to let you know, but I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to just go be in my room and pout. Like, I still think NeNe came out on top, and I think Kenya just needs to shut up. Because it's was like it was on the bus. It's like it's like NeNe listened to her to humor her, but NeNe didn't need her to tell her what to do. She just is like humoring her, like, okay, Kenya, yes, okay, all right, yeah, let's go do this now. Okay, I'm gonna do this nicely. Okay, Kenya, there, you had your little moment.
Wait, pause moment for Kenya, though. When she was scaring all the girls in the house, and she jumped out and scared Phaedra, and Phaedra said, I rebuke you.
Exactly.
Oh, I love Phaedra. I cannot with her. Okay.
She comes up with good ones.
So NeNe says, all right, I need to set some ground rules. You know, you can't be late to things, like, you're always late, yada, yada, yada. Phaedra comes into the room, and Miss Mynique, here she comes again. This bitch is an all-star this episode. She talking about, you know, well, you just missed all the rules, and you the one that should have been here for the rules, since of what I heard through the grapevine. Bitch, what grapevine did you hear that you felt you could make any kind of statement? Who are you? What's your name? That's what I would have said to Phaedra. I'd be like, who are you? Hi, what's your name?
Well, we get explained why Mynique is a little bit of a mess a little bit later. NeNe makes us understand why she needs help.
Girl, Phaedra said, you don't know me. And then she said, I got jobs. I've got jobs.
I've got jobs. Mm-hmm.
Well, Phaedra's stepping it up for me because she was kind of slacking with her little comebacks, but she's been doing it for me.
She's been doing pretty good in Savannah.
I'm kind of excited if she actually really does this, but remember when Kandi and Phaedra were walking outside afterwards and they started talking about dating Chuck, and then they see the hearse?
Yes. Yes, and they run over to the hearse, and the hearse is all like, oh, you guys are pretty.
What was his name? Pegleg something?
Pegleg somebody, and that was such a... Ridiculous.
I would love for Phaedra to start this. I would love for Phaedra to get into this business because I could totally see her driving a hearse around, scaring people.
Hearse tours in Atlanta. Oh my God.
So while they're outside, all the other girls are in NeNe's bedroom. We got Porsha up in there, keying it with Kenya like they ain't got no problems or nothing. Talking about Monique got red. Monique, now we understand Monique. You know, she's how old would you say Monique is?
She's probably early 40s.
Yeah? And she grew up, as the girls like to say, very white bread. And she doesn't understand.
She grew up with the white side of her family. Yes, yes.
And she doesn't understand certain terms, and she understands no gay terminology. Because Cynthia was like, do you have any gay friends? She's like, yeah, I think so. Like, bitch, what?
Does she not know? You're not sure.
Clearly you don't have any friends.
Yeah. She's too busy raising babies and having sex.
Oh, there you go. Keeping her man.
I mean, if you're having sex every day for 13 years and you got like 3-4 kids, you don't have a whole lot of time.
But wait, hold up. Just think about that. Like, that comes off like it's a part of your schedule. Like, is it timed? Like, for 13 years, every other day, like, oh, we can't have sex today. It's not our on day, babe. Like,
it's too much.
Girl, why? She probably hasn't fucked in for 13 years. They had sex on their honeymoon, and that was it. He gave them the 2 kids. They adopted, and I'm just kidding. Okay, so then the trip this episode, they go to the first African-American church.
Yeah, the first African-American Baptist church in North America.
Church. Now, girl, I got to tell you, Porsha, I can't. So... coming into this, you know, Porsha walks around and she says, you know, I really love, you know, being here. It really connects me, makes me feel more connected with my grandfather. They find out that it's part of the Underground Railroad. It was built by hand. It has the oldest organ in Georgia. Porscha's just going on and on about her grandfather's legacy. And
she sounds intelligent almost. She almost sounds intelligent talking about all these things.
Until they bring up the holes in the damn ground. And they bring up these holes in the ground, which are air vents to the tunnels that were underneath the church. And Porsha says, well, where does this set up? Because the railroad got to come through somehow. Who's driving the train? God. Here's all I have to say to that. But she looked good, though. That peplum was working that she wore for this tour. That's so funny because Cynthia says that too. She said, if you get ready, you just have to make sure you look good when you do it. So, bitch, if you're going to be dumb, you better look good while you're doing it. She did look good. But, she looked great. But that was, and the reason it was, okay, obviously it's ridiculous and just insane that she said it to begin with. But the fact that she wouldn't shut up about it and kept asking, like, but they're not electric. Like, they were like, baby, it wasn't a train. But how did they, it's like, just shut up. Like, the fact that she didn't know, like, oh, that was a real dumb moment. Close my mouth now. Like, that's what was, because, like, they were walking out the door and she was still rambling on, like, trying to figure it out. Not okay. Girl, it made me win. God. Like, I was uncomfortable watching that happen. Oof, like what's her name said, her grandfather was rolling in his grave. Rolling, he done flipped over, did a somersault, and dug it deeper because he's so embarrassed. And Cordell's just sitting there like, Did I marry that for real? Like, thank God I'm free. So, okay, then we get into the juicy part. So the girls are, like, out there getting drinks, eating, they're getting really nice and tipsy. Yes, they were very tipsy. Shout out to NeNe because it was all over her face. They did some great little insert shots of just, like, NeNe looking around, looking confused, like, oh, what are these hoes talking about? And she looked like she was lit nice. Yo, NeNe has, these 2 episodes, NeNe's been giving really good gifs. I have a feeling that we're going to be able to find a lot of good gifs from these 2 episodes. So Monique brings up, and she's talking to Kandi, and she kind of laughs off, and she says to Kandi, yeah, Chuck said, you were a quick 2 weeks together. And Candy's like, hold up. We dated when I was 19, and then he came back when I was 21. And Monique starts getting a little nervous there. So then she comes out and says, well, it couldn't have been the best he ever had because 2 weeks ain't nothing. She said, like I said, we didn't have no long-term relationship, but we had a relationship. What was you going through with that? Dang. Ouch. I mean, obviously, okay, if this was real life and it wasn't total producer setup, which I distinctly kind of feel like maybe it was, but let's just pretend it's real life because that makes it more interesting. Monique obviously wanted to know what the real deal was because you're not going to bring up in the company of random women that you aren't for real cool with your husband's, like, ex, like, information unless you're digging to find out for real. Because most dudes would be like, oh, no, she wasn't into me. Yeah, we just hooked up for a little bit. No, what's the real story? So I feel like if it was for real, she was just digging to try to get the information. Right. And I'm not mad at that. Well, I don't know. I like that Phaedra and Kandi didn't bring it up themselves, like, because that would have been kind of shifty. Like, they just were, like, trying to be classy, like, I'm not going to say nothing. But she brought it up, so I'm going to be real. They didn't need to. Because, well, exactly. Like, she brought it up first. And yeah. I felt like she thought, because everyone was talking about, being catty and all this stuff, I felt like she felt like, oh, here, I can, slide this in there as a joke. And boo, you got read back and you couldn't handle it. And here's how she started getting nervous from here. As crazy and bad tasteless as it was for Kenya to do what she did, entertaining-wise, like you said, it was everything. She's talking about, you should feel sick. Like, if my man ever did that, like, I don't know. If I ever came into a room and my man was like, oh, yeah, I slept with Cynthia, I slept with this person, like, I would feel really uncomfortable. Yep. And then to bring up what is the sex like. That's where I had the problem with Kenya.
when she says, how was the sex, I was like, come on now. You cannot. That is not okay.
But Mynique didn't even sound mad. She just sounded mad nervous, like she didn't even know what to do. She's talking about, come on, tacky wacky, a little more class cray. Like, girl, bye.
She was probably embarrassed. She was embarrassed.
She was not embarrassed. Like, your man is a whore. He cheats on you. You're mad. Bye.
He's not a whore. That was like 30 years ago. Before she was even in the picture. And I actually wrote down poor Chuck, because that has to be, like, embarrassing as hell to watch outside of that. Like, he wasn't even there, and all the women, like, oh, yeah, I was with him, I did this, and we were together, and we did that. Like, that's so, like, not... Nobody want their business in the street like that. Poor Chuck.
Right, and then also she's like, oh, yeah, Chuck's cheap. And Kenneth, he ain't cheap. He got me Louis Vuitton. He used to give me money on a weekly basis. Like, he was
paying her bills. Paid her credit card bill. Like, that really shut Mynique down. She was like, what?
Like, she hadn't wrote Destiny's Child's hit yet, you know what I'm saying? It didn't come. Phaedra, we find out they dated when they were children and then dated again in college, but something sounded fishy about that. Mynique was looking crazy. Porsha, you know, brings up, hey, you know, you're mad at the questions that you asked because your husband, you know, you need to ask your husband questions because he ain't being truthful. And Mynique gets irritated, upset, and they get into this fight. Don't make my husband look crazy. Back and forth. You know, whose side were you do you think Porsha kind of crossed the line right there?
I think Porsha was definitely out of line because she was speaking from her experience, which is not the same thing as them talking about this man who dated these women some 20-plus years ago, like 15 to 20 years ago when his wife wasn't even in the picture. Like, to infer that he's lying, like, nobody is completely, like, self-disclosing of exactly what they did with all of their exes to their current relationship. Like, nobody wants to hear those details. Like, I don't need to know how many times you got it in with Phaedra, and, like, you just respectfully, you say, yeah, I was in a relationship. It's not like he lied and said he wasn't in relationships with them. He fooled around with them or said whatever he said and left it at that. And it's not like these relationships happened while they were dating, while he was dating his wife or anything like that. So for Porsha to kind of, like, make that leap, I think she just went too far, and that's why Mynique got upset. Like, I mean, it's not that serious. Like, yeah, it's not cool. Like, hey, honey, why you got to be like, why were you trying to front like you weren't dating Kandi for real? But that's not something that was relevant to their current relationship. So I feel like Porsha just poured all her extra that she mad about and made it the same situation with her and Mynique, and I just don't think it was the same situation. She needs to shut the hell up.
She sure was the entire trip, because we're about to get into next episode, too. And, you know, last week's episode, to me, Mynique had me fucking going crazy with how crazy she was looking. But this next episode was an emotional mess between all of these girls. I could not with last night's episode. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to everybody listening to us right now. If you guys could help us out, hit us up on iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. It's absolutely free. And help get us in number one. Just as in your iTunes, search Real Housewives of Atlanta, AfterBuzz TV, and hit subscribe. And Courtney, you have a little...
And after you guys subscribe to our podcast and make sure downloading and listening to it in this new year, I know we all been eating and doing some crazy stuff. I actually just ate some chili fries that I probably shouldn't have eaten. So starting with this whole new year move, we're going to get it back together. You want to get it tight, get it right, like you will see the Housewives doing in this next episode. You can start that off with a little Slim Fast. Because with Slim Fast, 2 weeks is all it'll take to get what you really want in 14 days, and the only thing higher than your confidence will be your hemline. So this podcast is brought to you by Slim Fast, so you guys should go hook that up and get that started with the new year coming. On Wednesday, it's going to be January 1st. Can you believe that?
I'm talking to y'all right now. I got my phone charged into the wall right now, and I could go for some Slim Fast right now because I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I should have probably had some fast instead of what I ate, but I'm going to try that next time. Right,
because, you know, the holiday food, it ain't the new year yet. All right, so the new episode, talking about food, we see the girls, they're waking up, and they're talking about they're going to have a big dinner party, and they want to stay inside and really get to bond with each other. We find out that Kandi has Skype sex with Todd. Interesting.
Yes.
And Porsha says, thank you. But then we find out that Porsha has a tattoo and used to have a piercing over her vagina.
On her hoo-ha, she had a tattoo and a piercing. I was like, what? I mean, more power to you, girl. I don't know how nobody get one down, a piercing specifically down there, but go ahead, get it. I'm wincing just thinking, like, I'm like...
I don't know. Yeah, me too. Right. Okay, moving on. So then the girls go into this talk about gay rights. I really kind of missed the boat on where they started talking about that. And it switches gears to, Cynthia bringing up Noel and her boyfriend Arthur. And her and NeNe kind of go back and forth between it. She basically says, she doesn't support Cynthia's parenting. NeNe talking about girls today are fast twerking. And Cynthia keeps getting really upset talking about, like she's talking about her daughter. Now, I will say I was with NeNe up until the point where she kept kind of going a little hard about the whole twerking thing and doing the whole dance. But, I mean, it's kind of like, you have to know your friends. Like, that's NeNe. That's how she is. Like, is it cool? Not really, but, like, it's just how NeNe is.
And I think that's why Cynthia did, obviously, like, once they are up from the table and it's all dramatic and all that, like, she didn't seem angry at NeNe because I feel like she knows NeNe and that's how NeNe is, and she doesn't necessarily hold anything against her for it. They just don't agree on something. And I feel like Cynthia knew her sensitivity wasn't just because NeNe was acting a fool at the table.
Right.
I don't think that's why she broke down for real. Like, I think she broke down because she's worried. She doesn't know if she's doing the right thing, and she's trying to do the right thing, and she just wants to be affirmed that she's doing the right thing because it's scary. Raising girls is scary.
I mean,
girls get the burden of all the responsibility if something get jacked up.
It was a little overdramatic, but I'm going to put the blame on the spirits in the house, the haunted house.
Is that what took over?
I'm just saying, because as soon as this happened with Cynthia, it was like a damn domino effect. We have Cynthia upstairs crying in the room. Porsha coming upstairs giving, like, I felt like I was watching Coach Carter. She's giving her a speech like, girl, I did not have a mother growing up. Kenya's over there talking about she don't have a mother growing up. Porsha over here talking about watching damn Cordell's kid. Like, bitch, you was feeding this damn boy Twizzlers. The hell are you talking about giving her mother advice? Like, girl, sit your ass down. Kenny talking about, I did not have a mother growing up, Cynthia. This is all I want. You need to be a role model. And then Cynthia calls Noel. And I was like, what the hell am I watching right now? This looks like the damn Twilight Zone.
They were just having a very, I don't like to say this because I'm not trying to be, like, stereotypical or, like, sexist, like, women, whatever. But they're women. They were having an intense conversation, and the emotions started to flare for a variety of reasons, I'm sure. And it was just felt by everyone. It was like Porsha kept saying, even though it was sort of annoying because she was, like, trying to be, like, super deep. But she was right, like having that moment where you realize that you don't realize what your girlfriends are really going through and that you all are going through similar things sometimes, and it just kind of all breaks. And you're like, oh, my God, we're all carrying these same burdens, like feeling like, are we good enough? Are we doing right as mothers? Are we doing right as women working and all kinds of stuff? So Porsha had her moment of, like, I'm a grown-up and I speak English well and know what I'm talking about moment when she said that. It was kind of intense.
It was very intense. And it's so funny because watching this scene, I was actually sitting here thinking, because it's funny, you see the cliques in the house. So NeNe's chasing after Porsha, Cynthia, Kenya, and then you get Phaedra and Kandi in the kitchen. You know, they was sitting over there like, these bitches are crazy. And I was like, you know, if me and Courtney were there, we wouldn't have been up there cooking. We would have been sitting at the kitchen table eating wheat thins and, like, you know, cheese dip or something like that.
I would have been tasting that macaroni and cheese like, okay, can y'all add some more cheese? Okay, y'all got cornbread? Because I'll just snack on that one. Keep cooking.
Right. Shading just all these bitches, because I'm just sitting here like, Porsha, what the hell? This bitch really turned into Coach Carter. Like, I really was sitting here like, bitch, Akilla and the Bee is giving the damn speech right now.
Yeah. Except her moment when she talked about what her mom said, when she was trying to, like, give her the real pep talk, where she was like, my mom said, you just have to stand back and know you feel good about what you did, or whatever she said, and it didn't quite conclude properly. She's like, you gotta step back and know you did a good job and just let it. I'm like, did a good job? What does that have to do with you and your stepson? Like, your stepson is not grown. Like,
I swear.
That raising process is not over.
Someone gave Porsha a damn Adderall that day, because that bitch she was on one. So then we get back to the dinner prep, and Porsha and Kenya, they sit down in the room. What was
that about?
And then they relate above. This is so set up. Like, let's just go in this room. Let me pull you aside in this room, and let's just talk about the fact that you and me both want babies. Nothing else other than the fact that just you and me want babies, and we don't have them yet. Let's relate to that and empower women.
But I did feel sad for Kenya, even though, okay, for a couple reasons. First of all, makeup, close-ups, really unfortunate in this episode, especially for Kenya. And I'm not trying to be a hater, but oh my God, I was like, dang, girl, you look rough up close. But then I did feel bad when she was sitting in the room with Kenya, or with Porsha, and they were talking about, she was, again, talking about her mom and how she doesn't even want a daughter because she doesn't want anything to remind her of her relationship with her mom. I was like, dang, girl, you need to go to therapy for real, because she got to work that out. Because what happens if you had a daughter? You're just going to be hostile and have all those feelings inside? She need to go talk to somebody. And I don't think Porsha is the person she should be talking to.
No, I don't think any girl on the Real Housewives is the person she should be talking to. So as Kenya starts crying, then all of a sudden Porsha starts crying, talking about safe haven, getting to know Kenya, and then she's talking about, I'm praying for you, girl. I'm praying for you, girl. Like, girl.
She meant it. She's special. She
tried. That was cute. NeNe and Cynthia had an awkward-ass makeup. I couldn't wait with that. Then they all went down to eat. What's that?
I know you saw how NeNe was still drunk. That's also why NeNe probably didn't stop at the table, because I'm pretty sure she was drunk this whole episode. So, because when she came up in the room and she's like, you got to keep it jokey and laugh. Like, you keep it jokey and you joke it back up. But, like, when you see your friend, like, that's for real tight with you, like, really have a breakdown, you steady everything first and then you make the joke. She came in, like, being goofy and jokey. I was like, NeNe, you still drunk. And Cynthia done cried her eyes out.
Oh, NeNe, that was not in the friend contract. Sorry,
That's a good trip. She was having a good time, and she was annoyed that everybody was crying. Further proof of her being inebriated in the episode, because she was like, do they think this is fun? Because it's not. Sorry, I obviously still love NeNe.
Well, and the other thing about drunk NeNe is she started drinking, I feel, at the dinner table. Who was it that she was talking to when they brought up about the whole L.A. thing, and she started talking about acting, and then she changed the subject really quickly because she got uncomfortable? Who was she having that conversation?
Monique that asked her about L.A. or going back to L.A.?
Maybe it was Monique. So I thought that was interesting about NeNe, too. So she probably sitting there like, oh, shoot, these people ain't calling me back. I ain't really getting my episodes on Glee. Like, yeah, girl. Days of Our Lives hiring. Like, what's good? Anyway, so then Kandi's sitting over here. Well, here's a job for NeNe. Kandi's talking about wanting to do a musical.
Yes, which we know actually did happen. She did a play with Todd.
That's cute.
In November. I don't know if any of the women were in it, though.
I don't believe any of them were.
I'm pretty sure they weren't.
While she says that, you know, she brings up the whole musical theater thing, Porsha's crying, NeNe goes in, and Porsha, when she first answered the door, just give me a minute! She saw a picture on Instagram that really hurt her. You know, NeNe put Porsha in check about, you know, kind of putting a hold on the divorce, which I'm just like, girl, why would you tell her to do that?
Well, I feel like I actually thought NeNe was giving her good advice, because I feel like the advice NeNe was giving her is stop letting it happen to you and be present and do something about it. If you're not ready to go through it yet or deal with it or sign off on it, and you feel like it's like she was just taking whatever was given to her because she's not grown enough to stand up and say, you know what, I'm not ready to sign off on my divorce. I'm not ready to whatever it is. Say it. And I think she was just trying to be like, dang it, Porsha, stand up for yourself and have a voice. Like, not necessarily don't get a divorce, but if you are not in a place where you feel like you have done everything you want to do towards it, then say that and try to do whatever it is you think you can do to save it or not save it or whatever. But I don't necessarily think she was really trying to force her to stop the divorce, but at least saying, speak up, damn it. Like, stop crying and sobbing and acting like the world happens to you. It's not happening to you. You have choices. Make one.
Right. Well, okay, so then how did you feel about NeNe going over to Kenya, talking about you acting crazy, being pleasant with Phaedra? My thing
I was a little
NeNe,
weirded out by that.
Yeah, like, you've been asking for everyone to be cool. Like, why are you trying to instigate something between Kenya and Phaedra? Like, and then all of a sudden she walked out of the room and left Kenya in the room with Phaedra. And then that conversation was awkward. That conversation was awkward.
Wow, Phaedra again pumped her boob.
In Kenya, that's where I noticed the close-ups of Kenya. I was like, "Oh, girl."
Yeah, it was pretty rough. It was looking pretty rough.
You know, it didn't hit me because I was like, "Oh, Phaedra's being a little too shady right now."
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, she probably was sitting here like, "Girl, you're just drunk right now. You're on one right now because you're making up with everyone in the house, but you're still going to do some shady-ish behind my back."
Yeah. Or is it, do you think that Phaedra just really don't care? Like, she's over it. Like, I don't want to talk to you about this. We are never going to be friends. We can be cool. I can be cordial, which is what we've been doing, but we ain't going to be cool. Why do we need to talk? We don't have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I could see Phaedra being like that, too.
And that is it. Side note, why did Kenya fly her nasty, sick dog into the house? Like, what?
Right, like, no one needed that dog to be there. Maybe you shouldn't have been on the trip if your dog was that sick. To have your shitty kitty dog running around, diarrhea, and all up in our vacation house. Like,
in the vacation house. Like, and obviously somebody was with her because they brought her to you, so I'm confused. If you just gave him medicine and he was supposed to be, or she, I guess it's a girl, Velvet. But that was weird to me.
I'm going to be like, Velvet need a dog house, like, outside.
Yeah. And I also appreciate that Cynthia is now the hair and makeup lady for everyone.
Yes.
She was curling everybody's hair, doing everybody's makeup.
Cynthia gives it to me every single time she's on camera. Like, this season, she is giving it better than she has. She is bringing it. I feel like she is giving a different ad every time I watch her. I feel like she was like Ralph Lauren today with her little sweater over her orange shirt. I love
doing the thing. And apparently everybody is noticing because they all want her to do their hair and makeup.
Well, so then they go to this Club One drag show with Lady Chabise or whatever. I don't know what her damn name was. The bitch was so skinny and anorexic. It was crazy. She was
old.
She was old, wrinkly, and a skeleton. Like, what? It looked like the Night from the Living Dead damn thing came back and put a wig on.
And why did Club One look like it was just a straight-up liquor store, like, with some tables?
You know, it's so, I was really sitting there like, ooh, this is where the girls are really going. But then I'm like, I don't really know Savannah, Georgia like that, so.
I would imagine that there aren't that many options to begin with, but yeah, I mean, go Club One. They got on TV.
You see that drag queen? That clearly was no options to be doing that. But NeNe, that was kind of a little embarrassing, her at that club. She was drunk, slurring on the mic, picking on Mynique. What do you think about that scene?
I thought it was funny. It was cute. Little Mynique didn't know what to do with herself, but again, NeNe was very drunk, and it was interesting to watch. But did you catch before they were going out, Kenya threw some shade at NeNe when she was talking about going to see the Queen, and she said NeNe looked like them. Big knees, big feet, and Adam's apple, not sure if she tucks. Mm-hmm. In reference to NeNe. I was like, Kenya, what are you saying, and why are you saying that about NeNe?
Right, girl, she thought she was being cute. That's going to bite her in the ass.
Not cool.
So then we get to dinner. Porsha tells us that she texts Cordell, which is like, girl, why? And then they're all like little kids, like, oh my God, what did you say? Like, girl, sit down. He basically texts her back talking about what would you like to talk about. And then this part kind of irritated me. Kandi had her phone and texted back us. And I just feel like that wasn't Candy's place. I don't know if we missed something in which Kandi was told she could do that.
Yeah, well, I think she wasn't told. I must admit, I have been in that exact situation and sent the text myself.
Oops.
Where there was a girl talking about, like, trying to deal with a relationship, and I was just like, this is stupid, I'll just respond. And I typed in something, and I said what I typed, and then she was like, no, don't send that, and I didn't think about it, and then I was like, oops, I sent it, and yeah. So it wasn't her place, per se, but she didn't say anything crazy or inappropriate, so I'm not mad, because it's one of those things like, girl, come on, it's not that serious, just answer the question. It's very childish to just sit there and be like, I don't know what to say. Of course you know what to say. You know what you want to talk about. I want to talk about our situation. Why is that hard? So, anyway. Well, but I think the editing was a little bit weird with the dinner thing, because you know how, like, before they had gone out, but then they came back and were having this dinner, and they were all in the same outfits and looking just as rough. So it's like, did the dinner really happen like that? Like, I don't think so. Everybody was in the same outfit except NeNe. Actually, NeNe had a change of clothes on, which was weird. Like, it was just weird how it was edited. I don't think it was properly sequenced. So it was also weird that they ate dinner after the drag show. Yeah, which was obviously fairly late. Like, it just didn't make sense. So I don't know why they split it like that, though. If it was just before the drag show, like, why wouldn't they just do that? Which technically, it actually did happen before the drag show, because she said it's 1 o'clock when she texted Cordell, which means that it was 10 o'clock where they were. Oh, no, so yeah, 10 o'clock in Savannah, Georgia, 3 hours ahead. There you go. They're a mess. They're a mess. I don't know. But so they were eating. And then in that, Kenya cuts NeNe off, talking about Porsha needs to speak from her heart and not listen to advice. Ooh, girl. Everybody got so much to say about everybody else's stuff, and maybe it's just because they all on a trip together. I don't know. But, I mean, it's not that she said anything horrible, like, but I was just like, wow, everybody's got all this intense advice for everybody else. Right, and Kenya's trying to be buddy-buddy with Porsha. They on the ground trying to kill that damn cockroach that was flying. Honey, the flying roach was just doing too much. Flashbacks, can't handle it. Do not appreciate flying roaches at all. And then the final part of it was NeNe brings up Porsha and Kenya's friendship, and she says, you know, Porsha, you need to give more support to the group. You never call me back. Porsha apologizes. And Kandi feels like NeNe is a hard, difficult friend. Which I thought was really interesting. She said, you guys, your friendships are too needy. Mm. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because I can kind of see, like, Porsha being the friend that calls you, like, ooh, there's something going on, hook me up, can I go to this with you, or whatever. But then when you try to call her, for, like, just regular stuff, she's not available.
Right, she's, like, doing her nails or putting a mask on.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, but let's talk about, what's that? What were you going to say?
Well, I know. I'm like, what's up next? It's good.
Oh, what's up next looks interesting. Talking about Mama Joyce goes to the doctor. Something's going to happen with that. Cynthia and Peter, are they getting into it about money?
That's what I'm waiting for, because I'm sorry, but he bought a building and a car, and she didn't know. I don't know. I just don't understand how Peter can be mad based on what we've seen so far.
I don't know about Peter. And then the final one we get is Chuck and Phaedra talking about, you told them that we dated, and basically saying that we smashed, and that's about it.
Yep.
I'm excited for that part. I can't wait to see that too. And see how
especially because was that NeNe or Mynique in the car?
Oh, I don't know who's in the car. I just saw Chuck and it was probably NeNe, honestly.
I think it was NeNe, and that's why I was like, why are Chuck, NeNe, and Phaedra in a car together?
Ooh, we're gonna get some. I'm telling you, I can't wait for that episode. That's gonna be a real tea-filled episode. But I don't know. I want to thank you guys at home for watching, for listening right now. Make sure you guys hit us up on iTunes as well as AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can tweet me at DJ Jesse J and Courtney
at Stewart Starlet.
Until next week, same time, same place. Happy New Year.
Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.